Semper Paratus. Do you know what that means? And are you? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. That's what we're going to talk about in just a minute because it's important. It's really the central core of preparedness. The world's crazy. We know that. It's getting crazier all the time. If you've been keeping up on the news, and I don't dive deeply into it. You know, when a new situation comes up, I get into it deeply enough to kind of understand to the point where I think I understand what's going on, and then, I let it go because it's going to resolve itself with or without me, keeping track of it, and you probably feel the same, many of you. If you do get too wound up in the daily catastrophes, I'd suggest relax a little bit. Don't get too excited, too anxious about those things over which you have no control. It's good to keep track of them, but don't let them drive your emotions or your life or your actions. The world is going to do what the world's going to do, and we have to do what we have to do to insulate or protect ourselves from the effects of the craziness. So what's going on in the world? Okay, we attacked, or the United States attacked some positions in Syria. That was in a retaliation for something else. We see the expansion of the situation there, and I think it's just going to continue. Israel has dipped its toe into Gaza. It hasn't gone in for the main assault. It's gone for some probes and some just some preparatory operations from what I understand. We can probably still expect the ground invasion. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in this. We don't know. The House of Representatives has a new speaker. What's his name? Mike Johnson. Apparently this guy is quite a conservative. That was interesting how that came about. The main mass shooting situation has not been resolved. They haven't caught the guy. I read a little bit about it. If he's still alive, and my opinion would be that he is. Just to give you all, in case you're curious about what I think. And then we'll get back to Semper Paratus. If he's still alive, I think they're going to have a heck of a time finding him. And it's going to be quite a while. When the first reports come out, they come out, oh, he's, specially trained in the military and all that. Well, he was a petroleum specialist in the National Guard. Yeah, that hardly makes him, an expert, except where he gets his skills is from his own interests. Obviously, he was a hunter, he was a fisher, he was well versed in wilderness skills. So, is it gonna be another Eric Rudolph situation? Very possibly. There's also the possibility that. And if we want to go back to the voices he was hearing and all that, and I don't really want to get deep into that. Apparently it started when he got new hearing aids, and there's a lot. You all, those of you who keep up on all these things, especially the conspiracies, know all about what I'm talking about. If you don't, there's plenty of sites and plenty of YouTube channels that'll probably get way deep into this stuff. And I think, for the most part, it's interesting, but a waste of time because it's not anything that you're going to arrive at an answer. You're not going to know if you arrive at an answer at this point. So, that is an exercise in futility. And it's a waste of time when you could be concentrating on things that will better your position, and I think that's where to keep your attention. So, if he's not dead, and it could be, he could have, he could have gone in the woods and offed himself. I don't know. If I was sitting at the table, the planning table up there about what should we do next, and everybody's giving their opinion, mine would be, yeah, he could have done that, but I would go on the assumption that he hasn't, and he's off in the woods someplace, and he may be out there You know, they might find him this week. They might not find him for 5 years. Who knows? It depends on how much planning he did. And there was a couple of things that they came upon in their initial responses and investigations that leads me to believe that he did do some planning. Now, let me throw in the big, I won't call it a red herring here, but the big herring. Is the guy who did it the same guy whose picture they're showing? I don't know. Would I swear to it? No, I wouldn't. Would I swear that it's not? No, I wouldn't. Do I have a question about it? Yes, I do. Okay. Let's move on from that into... So that's what's going on in the world, right? And of course, it's good that the Ukraine situation has been resolved, and it's good that the Biden corruption has been resolved, because we don't hear about that anymore, right? Okay, because all these other things are, have taken its place. Okay, Semper Paratus. It means, those of you who are stone monters, those of you who have read my books know what it means. And maybe some of you know just because you know. Most people don't. A lot of times they'll say Semper Paratus, and they get it mixed up with Semper Fidelis, which is the Marine Corps motto, of course. Semper Paratus means always ready or always prepared. And it's the motto that I have used for years and years and years for Stonemont. I didn't know, by the way, I had somebody ask me, were you in the Coast Guard? And I said, well, why do you ask me? No, I wasn't. Oh, apparently it is the motto also of the Coast Guard. And so then I looked it up and I saw that, it's the motto for a lot of different organizations. I didn't know that when I started using it. All I did was I ran always ready or always prepared through my English to Latin translator, because, mottos should be in Latin, right? And it came out Semper Paratus, and I liked it. There's another one. There's a longer one, always ready for anything. It's just too long for me to sign in books, right? And it's, if you want a motto, you want it short and sweet. Nemo me impune lacesset. No one harms me with impunity. That's my Scottish Lions motto. Let me have one more sip, and then we're going to get into this. So if you've gotten copies of my book signed by me, you see that I put in there Semper Paratus. All the best in Semper Paratus, Steve Smith. And I hope that you are always ready. What is that? That means that you have gotten to the point, and you should. Now, for you newer people out there, and by the way, welcome and congratulations on your, however recent it is, inclusion in the idea of, the importance of preparing. For the newer people, you're going to say, well, I'm not always prepared. That's all right. Don't let what I'm about to say dissuade you and feel like you're not doing right. You're on the path. It just means you need to continue on the path until you reach the point, what I'm going to talk about. Always prepared means that you've reached a point at which it is a way of life. And it is a thought process to where actually you never really think about it anymore. It becomes your lifestyle. It becomes your life. When you're going through something new, or when you're learning about something new, and certainly when you're really getting tuned up about the threats of the world, and start taking it seriously, which most people don't. I mean, most people go through their lives oblivious to the threats around them, and that's, I call those people victims in waiting. But when you do finally tune into this, it can seem very, very threatening, very worrisome. It can be scary. A lot of people, when they're first getting into preparedness, go through this time of anxiety. They might feel like, well, I'm behind. Oh my gosh, all this is going on, and I'm just now realizing it. And these other people have been preparing forever, and especially those of y'all will say something especially to the people who are with us on the Patreon channel. Now on the by the way, welcome. We're having so many more people join us on the Patreon channel. If you're not yet, my friendly invitation to join us over there. There's a lot more over there. You'll get a lot. The link is down below. But for the newer people who come on the Patreon, you see how many people we have over there who are so advanced in preparedness. And they share their experiences, their thoughts, their encouragement in the comments that they leave under my videos, and also in the member post section. So if you're over there and you don't regularly check the member posts, and I mean regularly, you ought to do it every day. Do so, because there's so much over there. However, it can make a newer prepper feel like, oh my gosh, these people, have got it going on. They've got everything. They have done everything. Well, yes, but they've been doing it for years, okay? And they've been thinking about it for years, and they've been discussing it for years. And what you're seeing is the product of the process. Okay, but if you saw their process, and a lot of them will talk about their process, what they went through, as how they started, how they built, and all this, and that is very encouraging. And so you should feel encouraged. You should not feel as if you're, oh, I'm behind, I'll never reach the point these people do. You never know. You keep going at it, and if the world doesn't completely, fall apart in 10 years, you're probably going to be very close to where these people are, and you're going to be the one, giving advice and things like that. So don't ever let, anybody make you feel as if you're less, because you may not be as far down the preparedness road as others. Okay, but Semper Paratus, always ready, always prepared, is when you have gone through that process so deeply and for so long that it has become a lifestyle as opposed to a reaction. Okay, what I mean by that is so much of when people get into preparedness, they're reacting to fears. Okay, they read the news or they watch YouTube videos assuring them that the end is nigh, and that it's all going to come collapsing down pretty soon, and anxiety sets in. And so what they do too often is react. And reacting is different than responding. We say that a lot. You react to something very often, that's an emotional response, not a thoughtful response. When you respond, it's a result of thinking. Okay, when you react, it's an emotional reaction. So, oh my gosh, I've got to get, I've got to get ammo. Somebody will say, ammo's short and it's going up and I can't find it, and they just shut down Lake City ammo plant. By the way, I used to ride the district where Lake City is. Just for anybody who cares. Know a lot of people who work out there. And so I gotta buy ammo, or there's getting shortages on the grocery store shelves. Oh my gosh, I've got to go buy this, and when you do that, you end up wasting a lot of money. You end up, in some cases, getting the wrong things. For instance, when you're buying food, don't go out there and buy, for long-term storage or for preparation. And I've done a video on this. It's no longer available on YouTube, but I've put it up. It is on Patreon. I just put in the search bar something like, I don't know, prepared food or long-term storage or something like that, or the next step. You'll find it. But you reach the best point of that by buying what's on sale, not running out there and either buying this prepackaged good for 25 years food that tastes like cardboard, and it makes people feel good when they can see they got a couple of buckets there that cost them, for what they spend on that stuff. I could fill a barn with other food that I buy on sale that will last just as long if you package it right. If you hear somebody say, your money's not going to be worth anything, your fiat money is not going to be worth anything soon, get rid of it, or buy gold or buy silver or whatever. If you're just emotional and you're scared, you're going to do that, and you're going to find yourself with a problem. Okay. So anyway, a lot of people do go through that. And, I don't know if it's most people, but a lot of people go through that. And as a result, they'll waste time, they'll waste money, they'll find that they're really heavy over here on something, and oh my gosh, I've got thousands of dollars in guns and ammo. I don't have much food. Okay. Or I've got, a lot of gold and silver bars, but I don't have much food and I don't have much ammo because I'm expecting everything, because all these YouTube people told me it's all going to crash, my money's not going to be worth anything, and when it all crashes, I'll be able to buy everything with my gold and silver. And, people have been saying that for decades. So the thing is that don't react emotionally. Think about it so you can respond rationally. Okay, rational response is what takes you farther down the road. And as you go through that process, you get closer and closer and closer to a destination that you could consider Semper Paratus. Always ready, always prepared. And the closer you get to that, I've talked to a lot of people, as you can imagine, who are everywhere on the preparedness spectrum. And, everybody has told me pretty much the same thing, especially as they first started. When they finally got X, whatever their X might be, they felt so much better and so much more relaxed. When I got a month of food laid up, I felt so much better. When I got 3 months, 6 months, a year food, I felt so much better. I feel like I'm ready. I don't walk around in that fog of fear that so many people are trying to get me to live in. So as you go through that, every step you take get you closer to a feeling of a readiness. Okay, you're relaxed in it, and I don't mean by relaxed, I don't mean you're lazy, but you say, okay, if this happens, I'm good. If this happens, I'm good. If I lose my job, I'm good. If the grid goes down, I'm good. If, whatever. You tick off these things, but each one of those destinations is the finishing line of the process. Right? Now, you'll notice, and I know that I'm, I don't try to scare people and I don't try to excite people, although I do talk about, hey, there are things that happen that could either be of great enough concern to really focus on, or act as a drill for you to check yourself against it. If it really is happening, am I ready? Okay. My cat is hunting. So actually, I don't have a cat. My wife and kids have a cat. I'm a dog guy. My dog's out back guarding the back. The cat's in here hunting something. Who knows? I hope he's just curious and not hunting a mouse. But if he is, he'd better catch it, right? So we do talk about those things, but in many ways, my message is always prepare so that you're not afraid. Okay? Prepare so that you're relaxed. Right? Do you think the person who is always struggling to pay the bills at the end of the month is more relaxed, or the one who has plenty of money in the bank? Here, and I'm going to throw something out here. Right there, I'm going to get some people, whether they'll leave comments or not, I don't know. But there are going to people say, well, I wouldn't be, I don't know, the rich people, they just got more problems. I don't want to be rich. They just have more problems, and they probably got there by stealing it from poor people, you know. Yeah, right. Rich people get their money because they stole all the poor people's money, right? That kind of reasoning is far too common in the preparedness world, and it's too bad. But who is more relaxed? Okay, when it comes time to pay the bills, right? It's the guy that, gets his checkbook or gets on his laptop and pays the bills and doesn't think anything of it. That's the way you want to be with preparedness. And so that's why I always say, you want to be prepared for everything. That's why I wrote my books about being prepared for a total collapse. If you're not familiar with the books. Oh, the other one is back here. I've got it propped up. Let me get this, and then I've got it propped up because I'm in the process of reading the chapter 5. I think we're up to chapter 5 in the revival. Anyway, my series of books, the Stonemont series, it's all about positive preparedness. The story, I say it's a complete guide to preparing for, surviving, and rebuilding, which is important after the collapse of everything. It's about a CME taking out everything in the world. And it's a story of a family who, through their own preparedness, was able to live well, continue living well, but just as important, or more importantly perhaps, able to help other people. And they were able to help other people because of their own preparedness and foresight. And then, as a result of that, able to rebuild communities and a life worth living. I just read from, I think it was the second chapter, and I've done the audibles. I've completed the audibles of the reversion. That's available on the Patreon channel on the Stonemont level. You can hear me read the books. They're novels, but full of preparedness and survival and tips and lessons. So I'm currently reading The Revival, and I think in the second chapter there, I read one of Jim Wyatt's speeches. And in it says, we must create the world we want our children to live in. That's really what you're doing when you are preparing long term. And when I talk about total preparedness, by the way, they are available. You can get them through Amazon, or you can order them from me directly, and you do that by going to the Stonemont website, stonemont.us, not .com, stonemont.us. The link is down below. If you get them from our website, I get to sign them for you, which I love doing. And the way I sign it, as I said, is Semper Paratus. And I also say something else, but, I'll say anything you ask me to, as long as it's not a lie or, bad language. But full preparedness, when we talk about that, it's what integrative preparedness is, and that is to integrate all of your preparedness so that you are able to live well, because at the end I always talk about living well. You can live well, completely separate from all of those external systems, interrelated systems over which you have little or no control. And also in that your preparedness should not just prepare you to live well after a big collapse, but it should improve the quality of your life now. Okay? That's what integrative preparedness is. That's what Semper Paratus means. Always ready, always prepared, to be able to guide your own life and to live a good life. And wherever you are, now I shouldn't call them old timers, but the people who have been in it for a long time, I'm sure that many of them will leave comments, especially on the Patreon channel, talking about, this is how we do it, this is how we've done it, and all that. But everybody from the advanced, but I'm especially talking to the newer ones, don't be discouraged if you aren't to that point yet. Just keep going. Keep going. Slow and steady wins the race. You know, don't go faster than your money or your time allows you to. Go as fast as it does, but don't be frantic, right? Don't get excited. Don't be reacting to the latest emotional triggers they're trying to throw out there at you. And just keep on going. And you'll get there. And you'll get to the point where you can say, Semper Paratus. I'm always ready. Always prepared. Okay. All right. I'm going to get off here, and I think I'm going to read chapter 5 from the Revival. That'll be up in the next day or two over on the Patreon channel. And again, for those of you who are with us on Patreon, if you're on the first level, the entry level, and you want to hear my readings, my audibles of the Stonemont series, you can just upgrade to the Stonemont level, and you'll get it all. So that's it. Remember that we prepare well today, and in order to live well tomorrow, the key words there are prepare, live, and well. Okay. You all have a good day. Semper Paratus, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.